as frustration grows over China's zero COVID policy. The tough stance has left Australians trapped in the country, many fearing what will happen next.
And a massive worry for all who have relatives there back in Australia too. Kimbra Power is one of those Australians, and she joins us now in Shanghai, as well as the Australian Chinese Foundation Chair, Monica Chu, in Sydney. Good morning, ladies. Nice to be with you this morning. I can appreciate just how difficult things are for you right now. Kimbra, it's pretty scary what we're seeing, huh?
Yeah, the footage is awful, and we're seeing it as well. All over the city, all over the country. We've got friends in other parts of the country as well. It's not just Beijing. The riots have broken out and the protests are really on the rise.
So, I mean, you've lived in China and working there for, I think it's about 18 years now. Do you feel safe? And by what you're seeing at the moment, does any of it make you want to come home?
I'm always torn and wanting to come home. I have half my family in Australia and half my family here. However, the current situation's definitely escalated, and you don't know what's going to happen next, really, because it's a volatile situation and people are panicking. I do feel safe. I need to reassure my family, my mum and dad, my husband. So I do feel safe, but it's many of my colleagues that are not in a similar situation. They live a lot closer to where the action is right now, and I know that we've been told as a school we're not on campus today because we've got a COVID case on campus, and yeah, people are very frustrated with the way things are going right now all over. So these people protesting.
I was watching this vision last night, and I genuinely feel because it's I mean, people aren't allowed to protest in a normal way. People holding up sheets of white paper, they don't have a voice. That was to demonstrate that. We're hearing stories of factories, bunk beds being put into factories and people being locked into factories for days and weeks. There was a fire the other day as well, and people couldn't escape. I mean, it just goes on, and I don't know how this all gets resolved because Xi Jinping needs to save face on some of this. So how does it work out?
Oh, well, that's a big question, Carl. It's really scary, and these poor people protesting, just everyday people, and they've just had enough. It's been months and months of this uncertainty and so few cases, and just completely overreactive measures like you've seen on television. I mean, everything you've seen on television is true and real, and most people in China aren't seeing that. You realise the media really tamps everything down, so a lot of people don't know what's going on to the full extent that it's happening.
Kimbra, I'm interested to know, considering how quickly they do try and stamp out protests and people, voices of dissent, how you feel right now coming on and speaking about this?
Yeah, well, people talked about blanking out my face or hiding my name. I talked to my Chinese assistant and colleague yesterday, and she said, you're a very tiny fish in a huge pond. So I was on, a current affair in your autumn, and I was worried, but I'm not on their radar at all.
Okay, Monica, I wonder if we can talk to you now. I mean, do you fear this is going to escalate? Are you really concerned about it, and what most are you concerned about?
Well, my concern is I don't want to see people get hurt or even killed. So that is my major concern. And from the footage that I saw on TV recently, I had the same experience in Hong Kong in 2019 when I was traveling there. So that makes me I feel quite unsafe when I was in Hong Kong in 2019. That was in about September, October when I was there.
Can I ask you how you see this playing out? As Carl just pointed out, Xi Jinping, he won't want to lose face here, but there is a zero COVID policy, and we've noted right around the world that doesn't work. It gets in at some point. How does this play out?
I have no idea. See, I think in Australia we did have, like in Sydney, we did have a zero COVID policy for a little while, and gradually we all learned to live with it. So I don't know how much the Chinese government has communicated to the citizens there. So really, I can't really comment on that because I'm not sure what is the situation there, and all I saw is from the media. So I can feel for Kim, who is now living in Shanghai. So I just pray that everything will eventually resolve peacefully.
Look, there are more than 1 million, I think, Australians with Chinese heritage, and a lot of them will be very deeply concerned about what is going on. We don't know exactly what's going on because the media coverage is fairly limited, but we are watching that situation as you are very keenly, and we hope the very best for all your relatives there, and also to you, Kimbra. Take care.
Stay safe.
Our next guest is a triple threat, an